Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. Welcome to the Shrimp Tank Charleston Show. I'm your host, Eric Elkins, founder of Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions. Double E helps people navigate through the complex world of financial and insurance industries. The Shrimp Tank is a nationally syndicated podcast that can be heard and watched on YouTube, Google, Apple, and Spotify. You can also tune in and subscribe to our shows on our website. Either use shrimptankpodcast.com/Charleston or go to the Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions website, which is doublellc.com. Let me spell that, DOUBLEELLC.com. For past shows plus great information, if you want to learn more about Double E, that's a great place to go. And it's a brand new website that I think is pretty unbelievable. But our guest has a pretty cool website too, I must say. And not to just talk about a bunch of junk or, well, I don't even know what I'm saying. I probably had too much coffee, but we're just going to jump in to this guest that we have. We actually have two guests, which is unusual. We have a couple. We have Gunnar and Q. They don't even go by last names. That's how they run. They just go by Gunnar and Q. Don't ask. You can't look up their last names. You can't find it. It's Gunnar and Q. It's like Prince and I don't know of another.
Cher. Like Sonny and Cher.
Oh, Sonny and Cher.
Yeah.
Gunnar
doesn't know who that is. Bonnie and Clyde.
Q goes way back. Gunnar just got out of high school. Let me tell you about Gunnar. He's a serial entrepreneur and personal trainer. He's the founder of Goal House, which is a super cool. We're going to talk about this while we get into this show, but it's a really neat concept. It's a data-driven online fitness and lifestyle platform. He provides comprehensive training programs that go beyond the gym, and it really does. He believes in creating a lifestyle of discipline that extends all areas of life, including nutrition, sleep, and mental health. So many people just focus on like nutrition and working out and forget the mental health and the sleep, in my opinion. It's great that it's in your bio. All right. In addition to his work in the fitness industry, and this guy is really unbelievable. I've seen it live. I'm afraid to train with him because everyone is just exhausted, but they have the best bodies in the world that work out with this gentleman. Plus, you can't even get in to be with him. He's only takes like the most important people in the world. But besides that, he trains entrepreneurs, obviously more important entrepreneurs than myself. He's a part of a mastermind group. He's also an active real estate investor. It goes on and on. How old are you?
I'm 25.
He's 25 years old. And I wanted him to be on the show because he has been talking to me for the last 2 or 3 years. I would see him at the gym. And I would have thought Gunnar was 35, the way his mindset is. And he's perfect to be on the show. And then on top of it, enough about you. We have, are you guys married now or are you just engaged?
We just got engaged this past Christmas.
Okay, so they're still engaged. Hopefully they'll get married. But we have Q. I have no clue what Q's last name is because she only will say it's Q. That's all she says to me.
Top secret.
And Q, you have this whole digital marketing online program. Like you're really why Gunnar is successful. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Take all the credit for it.
And so let's talk about real quick. Let's give you a quick commercial because I didn't have the bio.
Yeah.
We kind of put her on the spot to be on the show last minute. She didn't know she was going to be on until last minute, but we needed her because Gunnar gets nervous. Having said that, you tell me about your company and your expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will give Gunnar credit. That's where it all started. I built Gunnar's brand out and his social media presence and his e-commerce business. And let's just say working with your significant other is not ideal. So we did that for 4 years. And I was like, well, if I could do it with Gunnar, I could probably do it with other people. So started picking up a few more clients. Very long story short, I ended up having somebody invest into my company. It's now called Legacy Digital, and we do branding and social media content creation and management for entrepreneurs.
Strictly online.
All online, yes.
Okay, so if I'm a company that wants to build my social media network and my branding for people to know who Double E is, do you understand what Double E really stands for?
I do not.
Well, my first name's Eric,
Okay.
and my last name's Elkins,
Makes sense.
and so I just called it Double E.
So creative. Thank you. I don't think I could have thought of that. To be honest.
But obviously, I probably don't need help because, I mean, you can just obviously tell how great of a marketer, brander I am. I want to get more followers, though, just from a concept of, like, bragging or something. How many do you have?
What is it, 70?
71,000.
71,000. It's not the most that we've had on the show, though. It's in the top 5, but it's not the most. I'm sorry. But it's still really good. Because you're 25, you definitely have the most per the age that you are. They're older. And
I got time.
Yeah. But
We'll work up to it.
and you can thank probably Q for doing that. Like, she helped
Every
you.
night before bed. Thank you.
He's lying.
Yes. All right. So your company, and are you taking on clients too?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I will say, and I'm joke around a lot, but I will say Q is very talented because I follow Gunnar because of the content that gets dispersed amongst throughout the day. It's always entertaining, it's always enjoyable, and it's just good stuff. So I think you obviously are a huge part of that.
Thank you.
So congrats on that. So
Thank you,
enough
thank you.
about Q. We're going to talk about both of these guys here. So first, let me again say thank you for being on the show. We're excited to have you guys. You're both.
Thanks for having us.
Are you 25 as well?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I was thinking you were younger, but
I am
Okay.
way younger. I'm actually 32, so
oh
we like to call
wow,
Gunnar my sugar baby.
God,
Yeah.
that's gonna.
Yeah, it's an age gap.
Yeah, I married older, but that's a big number. But you're very mature.
I'm an old soul, yeah.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
Yeah, if he acted like a 25-year-old, this wouldn't be a thing. He only hangs out with like middle-aged men.
bunch of dads. I'm soon to be a dad, so I'm just fitting right in.
Oh, really? Is there news that?
No.
No.
Why are you like, no.
All right, so let me. I want to go back because this show is about entrepreneurial spirit and where you came from, and I try to dig and find out why are you so motivated and successful as a 25-year-old, because you're not like the typical 25-year-olds that I meet. So take me back. You grew up in Delaware,
Bethany Beach, Delaware, yeah.
Bethany Beach. Is that where Biden was?
I think he was more like Rehoboth, but kind of on the beach, yeah. Same area.
Did you ever see Biden?
No.
Did you hang out with Hunter at all?
No.
Hunter Biden, that's his son. I was just curious, trying to find out if you had some drug issues or anything like that.
I'm like, where is this going?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't know the Bidens.
Nope.
And so does that, your upbringing, parents divorced? I did a lot of research. Parents divorced at 3.
Correct.
So you didn't even really know what that would feel like.
A little bit, but yeah, no. For like the first, I would say till I was probably 5, I still didn't understand what was really happening.
And that dynamic, did that change anything with the way you are? Because I noticed that sometimes when people have come from a divorced family, there's a certain drive that happens. It's like, and I'm not saying this, I don't know this is the case for you, but one parent, you're trying to show this one parent or parents that I can be something, I can do something, I'm going to prove to you. Any of that?
Yeah, 100%. So I think childhood has a big thing with how people turn out. So with my mom, I always watched like a single mom. It was kind of tough. You know, everybody around me had 2 parents, better income. So I think the drive for chasing financial goals came from having a single mom. And then I'm big into mentors. So I think that came from not having like a fatherly figure around much.
Dad wasn't around that much.
He was around, but it was more like a fun dad. So he lives in Florida. I still see him. I'd see him on holidays, but it was always fun time. It was like he wouldn't know like my day-to-day life like my mom would, but he would know me as a person.
And so when it comes to your mom's still alive and everything?
Yeah, I actually moved her to Charleston 3 years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Q, you like the mom?
Love her. Thank
Really?
God. Yes, thank God for Laura. Thank God for Laura.
Really?
She
That's
did
good.
create this little monster, but yeah, she's my saving grace.
Oh,
Love
that's
her.
great.
Yes.
That's good when you like future
in-laws, yeah.
in-laws.
Yeah.
I have great in-laws, so I'm not saying that that's my situation. Okay, but other people have problems. All right, so you didn't grow up with all this money.
No, my mom was a home healthcare nurse, was always working, did the best she could, but was always like having to stay at home sometimes when she went to work or eat frozen pizzas kind of thing, but she always did the best she could.
Is it just you and your mom?
So I have 3 half-brothers, but the age gap's probably like 12 years. So when I was in elementary, they were already out of high school.
And that's from your mom?
From my mom's side, correct.
So they really weren't. You were kind of like a solo kid.
Yeah.
You were kind of like a spoiled solo kid type of situation.
You would definitely say I was spoiled, yes.
And so you probably get very hard-headed sometimes.
100%,
Is that accurate? I mean, this is what.
Every
Is this
single
what you found
second
online?
of my life.
No, I'm just going off of stats and stuff here.
There we go.
And then I also saw these pictures of you from when you were younger. And guys, this is crazy because look at I mean, he's a fitness guru. He's an entrepreneur. You can tell he's not showing you, but he's got huge arms and huge chest. Not as large as my arms, but that's not what we're here for. But I saw this picture of you. You must have been like 8 or 9. You were 900 pounds, and he's turned into this now.
I was a little butterball, yes.
Let's talk about how did you lose 856 pounds?
Well, it wasn't quite that dramatic, but for my 16th birthday, I was a butterball and overweight all the way till high school, 10th grade, and I'll never forget it. I was 16. My half-brothers and my mother all put enough money in so I could get 8 personal training sessions.
They wanted, so was it because you just ate anything and everything you wanted?
I mean, typically the lower class, I mean, it's like the frozen foods, pre-made foods, and I was just what I was always eating, and I didn't know any better. Honestly, school food's not that healthy either, so I'd always get extra.
Okay, so I didn't see a picture. I just made this up.
Yeah.
He didn't weigh 900 pounds. I have no clue what you weighed as you were 8 years old. But at the time, I know that you grew up, you had a time where you were heavy. So then go ahead. So you do this training.
8 sessions, yep, with Noel Bowman, and I'll never forget it. I was like, I threw up the first 2 sessions. Fun fact, I can't drink Gatorade or Propel or anything. I'd always throw it up. It took me like 6 workouts, I want to say, to figure out that I just can't drink sugary drinks. And by the 8th session, I was hooked, and he wrote me a whole little separate plan to do on my off days. I was only seeing him once a week to make the sessions last for 8 weeks. And it just went from there, like, it turned into me just working out 5 days a week, and it was probably like July when my sessions ended. And my mom always put me in sports. I was always in football, and I used to hate it. I would want to quit.
Are you like an offensive lineman or what? Because you were this heavy set kid or what?
So I never really had a position.
Do you get does this bring back bad memories when we go back to these times?
It's kind of funny to look back and just kind of laugh at it now, but I never really had a position all the way until 10th grade. I never played. I was just bench, really. Right bench. Put me in it for up a bunch of points. And then I transformed in 3 months. So my training probably started May, and by August when tryouts were happening, I actually became a fullback and safety. And I started both ways, and I was captain of the football team from literally never starting, never playing a game.
So the girls are not interested in you till what age?
17, yeah.
17.
Yeah.
Because they just see you as this
little butterball, yeah.
And so were you picked on? And
all middle school I was picked on, messed with. No serious type bullying, but just typical, just didn't fit in, didn't really
He
know my
had an
place.
emo phase where he was goth, and he wore all black, which he still does, and he took a dragon tattoo and put
This
it
is
on
5th
his
grade.
neck.
This is 5th grade. Yeah,
I gotta find this picture and
my
send it
yearbook
to
picture
you.
had a little tattoo on my throat.
Yeah.
And then I would say 6th grade, I was trying to fit in with more of the smarter crowd, and just wore glasses and stuff, trying to be a smart kid, but was never book smart. And then 7th grade, I was hanging out with all the rednecks, country folks in Delaware. Didn't fit in, did dip one time, threw up, and I was I can't do this life. And then
so then when you start seeing this transformation and you're losing all this weight, did it really just come off that quickly? Because you're just learning, I need to eat, this Bowman character is telling you what to eat.
I would just have a very extremist personality. So somebody told me the blueprint, and I was I saw a little bit of success and what it could do, and I just went full speed with it.
Which makes your story even better, which probably helps your drive as much as you went through that crap, which is probably not. I've always been gorgeous, and so I've never had a problem like this that you're describing. No, I'm teasing. I was picked on, not really, but this is not about me. Okay, so but it seems like when people have that struggle, it becomes a good thing that happened to you.
Correct. Yeah, it created a fire and kind of led me to where I'm at today.
And so then your passion for the fitness, nutrition world that's when it kicked off.
Yeah, because it was just like those little habits and just seeing what discipline and the health aspect can transform, like the confidence it gave me from playing sports and being a captain to like actually leading a team rather than sitting on the bench getting messed with.
And then are these guys now like, hey, let's hang out, Gunnar? Like, is your senior year like some great change?
Yeah.
Like you went from this kind of nerdy kid to
100%. Yeah. And then I was very blessed with an incredible mother. So by this time I was her fourth son. So she was used to having boys. So senior year, I had all the parties, had all the kids over. My house was the place to be.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You probably partied hard that senior year because you never partied.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't say he was a part of a group of girls called the Fab Five, who's very close with still to this day. But he had this girl crew, and then there was Gunnar, but they were called the Fab Five.
So yeah, do you want me to go into this?
Well,
I just think it's funny. It's like
go ahead. I mean, obviously, this is an important part of your life.
So like with the confidence thing, the one thing I kind of built I gained a little bit of fame in high school is I had these 4 beautiful friends that I would never sleep with. They were strictly just friends. And whenever I had parties, they would always be like the center of the party. Or whenever we went to parties, they would always be with me. And I'd always drive or always make sure they were with me. And just the perception.
So you were like a pimp to these women.
Not necessarily, but
That's a great way to put
it worked
it.
very well, yes.
And so these guys want you to hook them up with these.
Or just be at the party and bring the girls, yeah.
Do you want to talk about? You want to say their names so that because they'll obviously be famous on this.
No.
You don't want to out them like that.
But it started like this phase. So when Gunnar went to college, he'll tell these stories. He's just always been surrounded by beautiful women, always. And I think that's where it started with the Fab Five crew. Even in college, when you're at the Citadel, even now the women he trains, he's just like, people ask me all the time, like, do you get jealous? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, Gunnar, I could throw him into a den of Playboy bunnies, and he would sit down and be like, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? That actually happened at a strip club before.
No, that's a strategy, by the way. I know that strategy. That's what you do when you're trying to be different I care about you and I want to know what you're going to do with your life. You can do better, blah, blah, blah. And then, I've seen that strategy. All right. So, Q, I did want to, I'm going to come back to that because I wanted to ask you if there's ever jealousy, but I'm going to dig a little deeper into that because I think that's an interesting, because you do train beautiful women usually. So, it seems like that would be hard on a woman. You'd have to be with a strong woman who's confident,
very much so.
Which obviously Q is. And if you are listening to this episode and you want to see how beautiful Q is, you can just go and watch this on YouTube because we're filming this episode. So by all means, follow the show on Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts. Type in the search menu, the Shrimp Tank Charleston. Again, Shrimp Tank. You got to spell tank out too. It's not one word. Shrimp is not. It's shrimp, then tank, then Charleston for it to show up on the menu. It's really complicated. But do the same thing when you go to YouTube. And you can see how beautiful Q is, because why would you want to be with someone else?
Thank you, Double E. Gunnar told me about 5 minutes before we left that I was going to be on this podcast. This is the best. No makeup. My hair.
No, you look beautiful. Seriously.
You.
And Gunnar, you're a very handsome man. One of the top 10 most handsome guys we've ever had on the show.
Thank you, Double E.
My pleasure. All right, so we get through this tough childhood that ends with a nice story your senior year. Then you go on to the Citadel.
Yeah, so I partied pretty hard, I'd say, my senior year of high school, and I was like, if I want to be something, I can't stay in Delaware, because typically if you stay in your hometown, I feel like people do the same stuff, they're the same friends. And I was like, I've had a really fun time, but I need to go get the shit kicked out of me and do something different. So I actually toured the Air Force Academy, Naval Academy, and West Point, and I ended up not getting accepted to any of those. It was a little too late that I decided I wanted to go to an academy.
Could you really go to West Point if you had done
the political connections? I probably could have. Yeah, it was all just about getting nominated.
I thought you didn't know Biden. What's this political connection?
Yeah.
What is your political connections?
I didn't have any. That's why I didn't get in.
Oh, that's why you didn't. Okay, got it. Sorry, I thought you said you could. Okay, no.
If I would have had them, I probably would have went to an academy. But Citadel, you can kind of pay to go to get tortured, and so I was like, sign me up. I got accepted, and that was my first thing that came back to school, and I said, I'm just going here. And I fell in love, went and did my little tour. They do a little thing called Summer Success Institute, and did that, and I was like, Charleston's the place to be.
So I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. I would never want to go to the Citadel. I mean, I'm not handy. I can't build anything. I don't like the outdoors. I mean, I'm just not that
Such a
guy.
man.
I'm not a man. Okay. But that's me. So you're already thinking ahead of, this is great. This is where I can get focused. I can really drill into what I want to try to accomplish. I was looking at guy to girl ratio, or girl to guy ratio, I guess. How many girls versus, what I'm going. Okay, so I'm immature. You're not. You're like, I'm going to the Citadel. This is great for me.
Yeah.
And then you're going to study engineering.
Yeah.
And then, did you love the Citadel?
I loved a lot of things about the Citadel, and then there were certain things I didn't like.
Like what?
So, like, back in the day, everything's just more politically correct. So, like, a lot of kids would get kicked out for making a couple kids do a couple extra push-ups and just, like, the littlest things. And I was like, I do not want to get kicked out. So I didn't even mess with the hazing or anything that went on there. I was like...
Was this after the hazing was an issue? Like, they got more strict about you don't haze?
Yeah.
Okay, because it was supposedly kind of bad at one time.
It was, yeah. But, like, from when I went in, it was really starting to crack down on it.
And so... You go on, you decide you want to be an engineer?
Yeah, so I had no idea what I really wanted to do, but I was just looking at incomes, and mechanical engineering had one of the best, salaries coming out, and I was like, I love math. Q will laugh. My mom kept all my papers from when I was a child. All the spelling and English writing was like failed, C's, D's, and all my maths were like 98, 100. So I was like, I'm a math guy. I'm a numbers person. I'm not the spelling or the writing person.
So, and then you're there. Are you dating girls from the College of Charleston? I mean, what's the...
No, so when I went there, I was like, I was like combat boots, shaved head. I was like, I'm getting in the military. I was chasing a Marine Corps scholarship. They go off a GPA, not major, so like a lot of the business majors had like 4.0s, and I was like a 3.0, 3.2. I was struggling with engineering stuff. And then end up getting a full ride with Army because they look at degree plus GPA. And so then by the end of my freshman year, because my mom could only afford to send me 1 year, so I knew I had 1 year paid for college, and then, stuck with this full scholarship. It was ROTC scholarship, paid for everything. You just had to go to summer trainings, and I got paid to go to school.
And so then now you're in the Army.
Yeah, so freshman spring, picked that up because I had to figure out how to pay for school for the remaining years. Went to a summer camp. I'll never forget it. And there's like a couple hundred kids, I don't know the exact number, in a regiment. And you go to the summer training like a boot camp. Everybody gets broken down. It sucks. It really does suck. And there's a fitness test. And I scored number 1 out of a couple hundred kids. And I was like, what? I was like, most kids can really run fast, or they can't do like the sit-ups and push-ups. I was just like, had a good base for all of them. And from there, I picked up all these kids like, what do you do? And I was like, just kind of like had a PDF copy-paste of everything that I've learned over the years. Nothing special. And so I ended up training a lot of kids online from that camp, and then it went over to the Citadel my sophomore year, and I was making a couple $1,000 a month just doing.
Really?
Yeah, it was like 2,000 or 3,000. I'm sitting there in my mechanical engineer class, and I'm like, this is just so easy, and kids love it, and everybody's getting great results, and it was just my gift. I feel like I felt like I figured out, like, starting to see that was like my actual gift.
And so, side question: you guys have kids. We're in the future.
Yep.
You have kids. They're about to go to college. Are you in the mindset that you want to pay for their... Well, I'll ask both of you. Do you want to pay for their college, or do you want them to have to go through with what you did?
So Gunnar and I, we actually sat down. Like, we're not pregnant. I don't know why you said that before that.
But
I'm
we're
about
working-
to be a
we're
dad.
working.
We're working on it.
Well,
so,
sounds like there's a woman that is pregnant that's about to have a child soon.
that's what you like how we frame that. No, we're not. But a few months ago, we like sat down and we built our family mission and like how we want to parent together, because I grew up very differently than he did. I was very fortunate and blessed and a part
She
of a
went to a lot
wealthy
of
family.
nightclubs.
Yeah, very. I'm very blessed.
Your school was paid for.
Yeah. And it took me 7 years to graduate college. So that's it for another story. But I wish that I wish I kind of grew up the way Gunnar did. So I had a little bit more humility and focus and passion. Growing up, I just thought everything would be taken care of, which it was. So we've agreed, like, our kid, we're not buying their first car. They're going to save up all their money and we'll match whatever they save up.
Hold on 1 second. It's June 27th, 2023. She just said that when they have their child gets their first car, that child will have to pay for it. We're going to hold this tape because y'all will be famous one day. No, you're already famous, but you'll be really famous. And we're going to see if that is true. Because I said a lot of this shit that you guys are saying, and then you have kids. We'll see. But go ahead. So you're gonna. But I like what you're saying because you even noticed it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I noticed it and I didn't appreciate it. Now I saw how Gunnar grows up, I didn't see how he grew up. I heard how he grew up, and I see how he handles life now, and I appreciate the way he makes decisions now, financially, with buying cars, with business decisions. He just thinks differently. But as far as college goes, I'll let Gunnar finish his story, but if our kids want to go to college, we're not going to be big, like, you have to go to college people. That's how I grew up, and I think your family is pretty predominant about it. But I don't know. Like, I would like to pay for it, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, probably not. If anything, I'd like to pay for my kid to go to some type of military type training, just like boot camp, to kind of just get appreciation. That was probably the biggest thing I learned from the military, is just the gratitude aspect, just not taking things for granted. And then secondly, I'd probably rather put them in like mastermind groups to really figure out what their passion is before sending them to school.
Yeah, I like that. I wish our education system, in high school and middle school, really they had more classes about life,
like vocational stuff and how to we just went to a mastermind last week, and there was a 15-year-old kid there with his dad, and I had the most in-depth conversation with it. I have brothers and cousins that are 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, and there's just not much clicking in there. And I know they have holes in their brain and they're going to grow up. But this kid was raised going to fix and flips with his dads and going to all these strategy meetings and learning, was by his side when he was property managing multifamilies, and he's 15 years old and he's like, I just want to drop out of school and do this. And I'm like, damn, if my kid had this fire, I would want to fuel it. I don't want to force my kid to go do something just because it's status quo.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it gets hard though. It's hard to raise kids. Period. I'm fortunate. I have two great boys, but it's some of the things that I give in on. It just gets lazy. We're like, it's just easier to here, take it.
Yeah.
Like last night, they were going through my wallet. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, we're going to Harris Teeter to get some ice cream. And I was like, you have your money. And they were like, Dad, you've been out of town. Just pay for it. And I was like, no, you guys got money.
Guilt tripping you.
And then about 3 seconds later, I'm like, take $30 from me. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm weak.
I definitely think it'll change as we get older. We're going to have all these rules and restrictions, and then you have kids, and there's only so much I'm the oldest of 5 and the oldest of 17 grandchildren, and we're all very close. And if one of them came to me and was like, I need $1,000, I give it to him right now. But I just want my kid to have that fire he has.
Well, a lot of times, the person that grew up like you becomes they're like, I don't want you to go through what I went through, because it's not. I want you to have an easier life than I had. That's a lot of times. So if you can sustain that process that you're trying to go with, I think it's great, because a lot of times I see the opposite.
No, it's definitely going to be tough. We'll see when we get there.
All All right, guys, you're listening to another great episode on the Shrimp Tank Charleston. We're sitting here talking to Gunnar and Q, but we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Attention. Do you own a whole life or universal life insurance policy? Were you told to expect a big tax-free nest egg at retirement, or that dividends will pay for the policy instead of you? Agents frequently sell products like this that are profitable for them, but not for you. Let Double E audit your policy at no cost. Call now to find out how Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions can help you. 843-936-6352. DoubleELLC.com. Securities offered through Fortune Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Elkins Financial, Double E LLC, and Fortune Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities.
Welcome back, guys, to the Shrimp Tank Charleston. I'm your host, Eric Elkins, as well as the founder of Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions. I personally use these Shrimp Tank Charleston interviews to continue elevating and enhancing my life as well as our clients' lives, whether it's from networking or connecting our clients with our Shrimp Tank guest, like a Gunnar and Q, to opening doors for investment opportunities or just learning from these guys who are overachievers. If you want to reach out to me or be a potential guest on the show, please go to my website, doubleellc.com. Again, DOUBLEELLC.com, and go to the Contact Us page. So we've been sitting here talking to Gunnar and Q because they don't have last names. And we're talking about, how you guys are going to raise your kids, which, you won't do anything that you're saying today, but that's beside the point. But I want to switch gears because you don't have kids. Q's not pregnant. And I want to talk about your life today because when I look at you as 25-year-old, you have built this great name. You have all these followers on Instagram. And is that your main platform, Instagram?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And you got like 5 million on Instagram or something, or close to that?
6 million.
Okay, 6. Sorry. So what is the what's it called? The handle?
His handle, we have 2 of them. It's Gunnar_made, and then the other one is goalhouse_.
Okay, so you guys go to Gunnar_made. If you don't know what that is that flat line. I don't even know why we have that, but you go to that or
Goalhouse.
Goalhouse. Thank you. I'm a lot older than you guys, so I can't remember things as quickly. Go follow these guys because I will tell you, I'm a follower, and it's very interesting. One, he has beautiful women, so if you're a guy watching, you'll enjoy watching the women because you're pigs out there. And he has that. But then he's showing you, like, you gave a great video the other day that I watched. It's where the fire was burning, and then you started pouring, and it really pissed me off because you put in like canola oil. It's horrible for you. And where you really bothered me was when you did the olive oil. You're like, I don't know why everybody's got to do all this olive oil. You just do a little topping of it. Well, that's my dressing for salads is just olive oil. And then I felt so guilty that I put all that oil on my salad. And the other day I was at Whole Foods and I put a little dink of, and my salad sucked.
He did it with the cap, and then he says, "This cap is 150 calories." I'm like, "Fuck you, Gunnar."
Yeah, I was pissed. I don't want to know that. You just think it's good for you, but that's just one example. You should follow them. It's very interesting. And these two start having their like fights and love affairs or whatever the hell they do on Instagram. So it's you guys will be like the next reality show out beyond Southern Charm.
God.
So we get to today, and you got Gunnar's business. You have your personal training, which is an exclusive group. I've tried to get in and be a client of Gunnar's for 3 years, and he only takes you have to be worth 52 million and above, and you have to have 6% body fat so that we get you down to 3%, and that's there's all these requirements that I just can't seem to achieve. But you have that, and God knows how much you charge these people. Then you have Gunnar Made. Well, that's the brand. But then you have Goal House,
Correct.
which you go to www.goalhouse.com, right? That's the website.
You got it.
And you can actually spend time with Gunnar, whether in this virtual environment. I'm guessing you can also probably pay privately to be with you as well. But you give really the whole essence of how you should focus and treat your body. Correct?
Correct.
Well, tell me what am I going to get when we go to Goal House? Because I've looked at it. It's a beautiful website, great testimonials, and it is real, guys. Like, everyone he trains has a ridiculous body. They all have great bodies, and there's it's mostly women, which is smart on his part, but you really do transform these people. There's no doubt, and it's pure hell. It's like a Rocky Balboa training for the fight. But when I go to if I join, what happens? What do you want to convey about Goal House, and what happens when I become a member?
So just in general, I think people just overcomplicate the health and wellness scene. There's so much information, so many fads. A lot of things work, but it's like, what's going to work for the long term? And I deal with like a lot of busy moms, entrepreneurs, business owners, and it's time. Time is the one thing that everybody's struggling with. Everybody's got excuses with time. So with Goal House, it's you only train based off how hard you're recovering. So a lot of people's recoveries are dog shit. Just they have their heart rate variability is low. They're drinking every night to try and calm themselves down. And then they think they can offset it by just going to the gym for hours. And that might work while you're younger in your 20s. But as you get older, your 30s, 40s, 50s, your hormones can't take that. And your sleep's probably not what it used to be. As you get older, more successful, it seems like a lot of these business owners I deal with, it's just their sleep is just in the dumpster fire. So with Goal House, I put everybody wearable technology. I think it's great, but understand wearable technology is only so accurate. So everybody gets this little Whoop device on their wristband.
Yeah, I hear Whoop all the time, like golfers and stuff. What is Whoop?
Yeah, I would just hands down say it's probably the best analytics and data you can get on somebody. That's just the most accurate. Apple Watch is okay, but it's not as accurate. So with the Whoop watch, it's going to tell you a couple of things, and real simple. Strain is like your stress. You could be getting strain right now from this podcast if you were nervous.
Scared.
Or you could be getting it at the gym or just your day-to-day. Or kids. Yeah. Then there's recovery. So that's kind of like how your body's adapting to your hydration, your heart rate variability, whether you're parasympathetic or sympathetic. Parasympathetic's like rest and digest. Sympathetic's like fight or flight, so like you're more active. And then it tells you your sleep score. So most people think they sleep, but they're not hitting any deeper REM sleep. So out of all these variables, it gives you color coding, which makes it super simple for consumers. Green is good. Yellow's you're inflamed, like caution, you're approaching the light. Red is like stop, your body is a hot mess right now. And so basically I put everybody into a group because everybody needs accountability regardless of who you are. Even me, like I get shown up by these moms sometimes. I'm like, I really need to go work out today or get a second workout in because they have kids that just throw their strains off the curve. I'm like, one client in particular, she's got 5 kids, and the max score you can get, it's scientifically not possible to get higher, is 21. She's like 19 and 20 most days. She just does not stop from the time she gets up to the time she goes to sleep. And you would never know just by looking at somebody like what their actual day-to-day life is. This kind of gives me a really good guess about that. So
okay, and then you help me with my nutrition too.
Correct. So yeah, once you get the whole recovery, the sleep, like the basics. Sleep is the most foundational thing you start with. Then after people get the Whoop and all their data, it generates customized workouts. So basically there's a 15-minute workout for people that are in the red, 30-minute workout for people that are in the yellow, and then a 45-minute workout for people that are in the green.
And so when you set that workout up, is it like there's a video of these set workouts that you've already filmed?
Correct. So everything's in like a PDF format, and if you don't understand exercise, you click the hyperlink right below it, and it takes you to YouTube of me actually demonstrating the exercise.
Okay, cool.
So because like most people understand like basic squats and stuff, so it's just a quick picture so people can scroll through it fast, but everything's color-coded based off your recovery, and then once they get the workouts and the sleep dialed in, then we're talking like hydration, nutrition, and again, a lot of diets work. Everybody's different. A lot of people have insensitivities just from their day-to-day life or, past life. And then after that, we talk about like recovery hacks to really start, taking it to the next level. And that's like your cold plunges, your sauna, breath work, meditation. And that's kind of like the last pillar we touch on.
For nutrition, you didn't talk about carbon. We track macros.
Yeah. So, the whole thing with everybody, at least majority of my clients, is you said they all look good. Everybody just wants to look good naked. A lot of people are past athletes.
Well, that's your big thing is
you just want to look good naked. Yeah.
I don't care about looking good naked. I want to look good in clothes.
Okay. Everyone's for themselves.
I'm all about doing the opposite.
Okay.
Jen doesn't need to see me naked. No, go ahead. No, I want to look good naked. I want to look good naked, and then I want to go get a spray tan, so I don't have
that helps,
white
yeah.
areas.
So
And
you
stuff.
say if you can't
tone it, you tan it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so nutrition. Go ahead. So Q wants you to talk about this.
Yeah, so with nutrition, we went a couple different paths. So we have everything from a registered dietitian. So that kind of gives you like meal plans and examples based off your body type. Then the thing that I love to use most is just data. So we use an app called Carbon Diet Coach, and this is basically like a nutrition coach. So basically you plug in your weight, your age, kind of where you're at in life as far as activity, and it generates macros. But what's cool about this is everybody's like, oh, macros are such a pain to track. Correct, but everybody needs a baseline of like what you should be eating, because you're talking about your olive oil, you're probably eating hundreds of calories in oil and you don't even realize it.
I'm eating thousands.
It's eye-opening. So with the Carbon Coach, which is really cool, there's two factors that
Well, let me ask you this, because I'll lose my thought.
Yeah.
What about if I put grapeseed oil? Are you cool with grapeseed and enormous amounts?
There's nothing wrong with, like, olive oil can be very healthy, and same with grapeseed oil, but it's how dense of calories it is, and it does not satisfy you. You don't get any fulfillment. You actually get hungrier.
Okay.
You get addicted to the
No
fats.
further questions. Continue.
There you go. I forget where I was going.
I don't
Well,
know.
we were talking about macros.
macros.
So what macros are? It's your calories in, protein in, carbs in, and fats in. All right. So I'll tell you, I've been active and done fitness my whole since college. I got really into working out. I actually taught group fitness for a while, yoga for a while, all the things, and started training with him and try to do everything. But
You seem miserable at his workouts, by the way. Miserable.
because I am. They suck, but they work.
She actually walks out a couple of times.
Yeah, because he comes over and fucks with me, and I'm not about it. So
You're. I think I would be just like you working out with Gunnar. Like
Yeah.
I can't even talk during a workout.
Yeah.
And he wants to talk.
well, he just comes over and he knows he's a button pusher. Gunnar is an instigator. I say he's like the kid that's in the elevator that will hit all 50 floors and then hit the emergency button. Like he knows what to push and where to push me. So when I'm dying and my heart rate's at 190 and he's like, "You're being a little bitch," he'll walk by and say that. Basically.
I think you have. I mean, you're obviously, you're in shape. You can obviously see, and you get to live with this gentleman. But do you think that what percentage, Q, because you're a witness of it, is diet over everything else?
Everything. People say 80-20. I say it's like 95% of it, because my body shrunk in a good way, in a productive way, as soon as I started tracking my macros. And you could ask him, I was so adverse to it for years. And he was like, "You need to track them." I'm like, "I'm not doing that. I want to live my life. I want to have balance. I want to go out to eat." Now with this Carbon app, there's a way to do it. But as soon as I started dialing in my macros, everything changed. Everything
You
changed.
can't outwork a bad diet.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older.
I work out less, and I love working out, but I work out less, and my body has never looked the way it has. And it happened almost instantly.
So when you join Goal House, and it's very affordable. I saw your packages. It's not like you're going to go broke being a part of this in any way, in my opinion. It's an investment, but it's your life. Having said that, when you guys, someone's phone's vibrating.
I think it might be mine in my bag.
Oh,
Sorry,
well,
guys.
the show's going to end. It's over now.
Sorry, guys.
If you hear that in the background, I apologize. It's never happened before. All right. So when you get into the part about the diet, you help in that whole thing when I'm a member of Goal House?
Yeah, so basically,
I know you're tracking it, but you're like giving suggestions of what I should and should not eat.
Yeah, so like we break it down as far as like the actual food groups you should be eating, and then even a step farther, like 10-minute PDFs is what we have, and it's like how you make these quick 10-minute meals that are super simple for anybody, because I don't like cooking personally. And it's like PDF, exactly what to eat, how to make it, and like 10
And
minutes
is it vegan or non? It's both.
No, it's both. I preach
because
a plant-based
you're
diet.
vegan still.
Plant-based.
Plant-based. So fun fact, I don't eat meat, maybe occasional sushi here and there, unless I kill it or catch it. So it's more seasonal.
Or
and
if
that's just
he
for the
knows
sourcing.
somebody, like if you went and caught fish and you're like, "Hey, Gunnar, I have some fish he wants," and he would eat it, but he
Just
wouldn't buy it
more
at
the
the grocery
sourcing.
store.
Okay. and I'm not a man, so I've never killed anything. So like you go out into the woods in Mount Pleasant and just shoot a deer and then
Venison,
put it on,
yep, in
you
the
just
winter.
put that on your back and
Carry
walk
it
down.
right out. Yeah, carry it right out.
Walk down rifle range with it on your back.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to grow out your hair. You would be Rambo, Gunnar Rambo. Okay, so you need to check this out because and one thing I feel like people do when they see the online workout type programs, and maybe you can correct me or validate what I'm about to say. I feel like people think, oh well, I like to go to the gym, but I can just do your program while I'm at the gym. I feel like people think, oh, that's just for me to do at home. But no, I can still go to the local gym or wherever I'm going and just incorporate your workout, correct? I'm just going to look at my phone, figure out what I'm doing. Am I right by saying that?
Yeah, so it's dumb. It's like minimal weight, like equipment that's needed because our niche demographic is women. It's moms. Men, we have a bunch of male clients as well, but
You can do it all like a hotel gym. Type
Yeah, so
setting.
you could like I said, it's entrepreneurs, people who have little time and don't truly have time to go to the gym. But yes, I think it's just mat, dumbbells, and.
But the big thing
That's
with
it,
Goal
right?
House, it's a lifestyle. So again, it's not for everybody, and most people think it's the workouts, and that's where they're wrong. Like to look good naked for life, it's 100% the habits, the discipline, the nutrition, and like if I had to categorize it in like a pyramid: sleep, hydration, nutrition, workouts is the last thing I would touch.
Say that one more time.
Sleep, hydration, nutrition, workouts. If I had to do a pyramid of most important to least important.
Did you guys hear that? Chase, Hannah, did y'all hear that? This is the first time they sat in on a podcast. They're like, well, do y'all want to talk? Y'all don't even have microphones. Okay. So, guys, you're listening to the Shrimp Tank Charleston show. We're sitting here talking to Q and Gunnar, talking about Goal House, www.goalhouse.com. Check it out. It's worth doing. Become a member, become a subscriber. We're going to take a last break, and then we're going to get into some questions that we got from our fans. So we're very excited to go into that, but we'll be right back.
If you're like most successful business executives, you would probably rather stick your arm in a bucket of snakes than formulate a strategy for your insurance and financial needs. Who even understands estate planning, 401k plans, or key man insurance? We do. We are Double E, your virtual chief insurance and financial officer. Let us free you up to do more of what you do best and less of what we do better. Call 843-936-6352. EELLC.com. Securities offered through Fortune Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Elkins Financial EE LLC and Fortune Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities.
Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to the Shrimp Tank Charleston show. I'm your host, Eric Elkins. We've been sitting here talking with Gunnar and Q. They're a couple. They're business partners. Q makes everything look good for Gunnar, and Gunnar just executes. We're sitting here in the Double E studios, and if you, again, want to watch this interview and you're not a listener type person, you can go to YouTube, type under the search menu, The Shrimp Tank Charleston, and then you'll see all the different shows we've interviewed, from Gunnar and Q to NBA legend Xavier McDaniel to athletic director Ray Tanner to Eric Bland, who was the man that was behind the whole Murdoch murders. He kind of blew that whole case up, and now he's representing Stephen Smith, and he's on the show again next month. But we're back to you, Q and Gunnar. Should it be Q and Gunnar or Gunnar Q? I don't know which, like Sonny and Cher. Cher and Sonny doesn't. It's not the same. Q and Gunnar. Okay, whatever. All right, you got Gunnar or Goal House. You got your personal training piece. You got your real estate. Now that you've done all these different things at 25, which is crazy, and for you at 32, which is still crazy. Sorry, I shouldn't have said what your age is.
Guys, now everybody knows.
Sorry. Give me an example of where you thought the idea was so good, you thought it was going to be this great thing, and it failed?
I'll start. We had a plant-based meal prep company. I'm big in the plant-based world and making that like a dominant like majority of your diet. You tell the story better.
Yeah, I'm going to tell it. So basically,
The food was amazing because I ordered it. I ordered it every week.
Now I remember Eric Elkinson. Okay.
Elkins. Please don't say
Sorry,
son.
guys, my bad.
It's no son to the name. It's just Elkins. But go ahead. No, I'm teasing.
But yeah, so I used to work as an assistant editor for a magazine here in Charleston for several years. It was a fitness magazine, and that's how I met Gunnar. COVID hit, magazine shut down, and I didn't have a job. So that's actually how I started getting involved in what he was doing. That's when we started building his e-commerce business and whatnot. But he was like, well, why don't you just meal prep for some of my clients? Because that was always something his clients wanted. He just didn't really have the bandwidth to do it. So it started with like 3 or 4 clients, and then it turned to 10 clients, and it turned to 15. And we were prepping out of our kitchen, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I just was winging it. And then Gunnar being Gunnar was like, let's turn this into a business and call it Plant Made or Gunnar Made Meal Prep. So we ended up investing into a kitchen, and we invested into a consultant, and we were making 500 to 800 meals a week. We had a full chef, sous chef, multiple line cooks, dishwasher. We had multiple delivery people. We ended up shipping nationwide. It got so big, yet it was the most terrible thing we've ever done in our life. And I think that everyone on our team could relate to it. Being in the hospitality industry is like insane, and meal prepping that much, especially sourcing plant-based food in Charleston's impossible, like healthy organic food.
So where are you getting the food still local, or are you trying to get it
Yeah, so we would work with like Cisco and Limehouse, but we would order from like California and different regions. So we had a consultant that had these. His name's Doug McNish. He's a world-renowned vegan chef, and he ended up coming in because we had no idea what we were doing with menu engineering and back-end processes, and making sure our food tasted.
Are you paying him a salary or some kind of
It was
fee?
like a startup fee, and then he took a percent of the business.
Then he had the equity of the business. So it was amazing, but it was one of those things where we were just barely breaking even, and we were committing every waking hour to it. Like, I'm surprised Gunnar and I are still together. It was the hardest thing that we've ever been through, every single moment of our life, every weekend, every holiday, and that's just from just creating the food. And then you had to have the business side of it and the consumer side of it and the evolution side of it. And it was just like, we sat down multiple times and we're like, what the fuck?
It was killing our relationship.
Yeah.
We broke up or she dumped me all the time. I was like, please don't leave me. So I had to choose what it was going to be, meal prep or Q.
I wish you'd stayed with the meal prep because it was so handy. Like, it just got, I wish y'all two had broken up because I could still have my vegan meals because I love being vegan. It's just too hard.
Yeah. We get it.
But yeah, the margins was just too high. When COVID was going down and shipping was just out of control. So like, I know for one thing, we'd source like our nuts from like California, all these, because all the dressings we made were from like almonds, cashews, and nuts are very expensive, and shipping would be hundreds of dollars, and that would be our margin because most food and bev margins like 20 to 30%. So you can lose it so fast.
Well, you remember the meals were there were multiple sauces, multiple sides. Like it wasn't just like you're getting a salad.
Everything was homemade from scratch.
We had like 15, 20 different menu options.
It was. I'm telling you, I loved it. It was delicious, and my blood work was great. I know what the vegan world can do.
I just don't think Charleston was ready for it. Charleston's very much so meat and potatoes and shrimp and grits, and we had a market there, which is why we went nationwide, because I'm like, okay, Charleston, we had a good clientele here, but it wasn't consistent, right? So one week we would have 800 plus meals, and then the next week we'd have 200 meals, and then the next week we'd have 330 meals. We couldn't get consistency.
So if you did the business today, knowing what you found out, but you did the same business, you went back in and did it quickly, what would you do now?
What would be the Charleston? We would do it in New York, DC, Miami, California. Like, I wouldn't do it in Charleston. Charleston wasn't ready for it, and I don't think they're still ready for it.
So you would go somewhere else to have this business going.
Yep.
And what about for sourcing the food? Or would you just be able to source it because you're in?
Yeah, if we're in the right place, we'll get the right sourcing. Just because of where we are.
Even Florida, like Miami, like there's a lot better sourcing out there.
Gotcha.
For like close
how many
by places.
vegan restaurants are in Charleston?
I can kind of see one downtown.
Yep,
Yeah.
one. You go to Miami, they're on every corner. You go to Cali, they're like there's more.
Are you somewhat vegan?
Absolutely not. So
You will just eat meat.
I'm definitely more plant dominant because of this guy. We don't have meat in the house. So if we go out to eat, I'm getting meat. Like I'm not about the source. Like I believe
More
in
seafood. She's probably more like pescatarian.
Yeah. I'm not as extreme as he is by any means at all. I tried it and it's not for me.
All right. Enough about that.
I like Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A. It's so salty.
Oh, that's so good.
It's
Can we go out there after here? I'm hungry.
all right. So I'm going to get into some questions. Some fans came to us and wanted us to ask you questions. But before I go there, it's 5 years from today. I want to know personally and professionally, what does y'all's life look like?
You want me to take the lead on this?
You go. I'll chime
Personally,
in.
in 5 years, I would say Gunnar made his phasing out of the in-person training, scaled the e-commerce business to probably a mobile app and probably nationwide. And then I would say that my active income is more from real estate than it is in-person training. That's kind of like the business, I would say, for me.
So how much real estate square footage do you own in 5 years?
I would say more like units, or
Okay, units.
I would hopefully anywhere from 500 to 1,000 would be a good goal.
Okay.
And
'Cause anything that people, when I asked this question, I brought the same question up to Chris Pappas. I don't know if you know Chris Pappas. Do you know him?
that sounds so familiar.
He's a writer. He's one of the head writers for The Righteous Gemstones. He wrote the movie The Wrong Missy on Netflix. He writes a lot of movies for Sandler. So when he came on my show, I'm just bragging because I have big people on the show, including you. He said, and I hope I'm directing a movie in 5 years. After being on this show, 2.5 years later, he's directing a movie
Let's put it out there.
with Vince Vaughn.
Good to know.
So everything comes true when you say this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why
Say
I'm
some
making
more
you
things. Say some more things.
Yeah.
We want to be multimillionaires.
All right, so it's real estate. You still have your legacy.
Yeah, I'd like to be more in a board position by then, out of operations. Like I said, we just started this company. I had a company before this called Q Consulting, so I've been doing this for years. But my goal in the next 5 years is to be more in a board seat and not in the operations, and working with Gunnar on investing and obviously building our family in the process. You forgot that part, Gunnar.
We didn't talk about family yet.
Oh,
but yeah.
okay.
One kid,
Two, definitely two. I
Two?
can't have an only child. Mm-mm.
2 in 5 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
at least two.
All right. Good stuff. All right, let's go to some questions from subscribers. This first one is Denise from Boston. What is your opinion of all of these diet pills, diabetic injections on being able to lose weight?
I'll say one thing. So I actually have a client that sells. It's called Doctors Weight Loss of Wisconsin, and they sell semaglutide, which is like the Hollywood skinny drug, the Ozempic, Wegovy. Before he chimes in on it, I'm a big believer in that for people who are overweight, who truly need that, don't have the discipline, but they need the tools to get to that point. I believe
They're
in that.
severely overweight.
Like severely
obese.
overweight. Yes, and they just like they call it the liquid gastric bypass surgery because it's like for people who truly just need to get that weight off of them. It curbs their hunger mentally and physically, and it can get them where they need to go faster and in a healthy way. But you're supposed to like implement lifestyle hacks into it, learn about nutrition, learn about weight, like working out, and implement that as you're losing weight. When people just do it just to take the shot to lose weight, I don't personally agree with that. But I'll let you take it from there.
So with like any diet pill or fad diet, I would always encourage people to look at not just like the 5 year or the 10 year, but look at that person or those diet and the trends 50 to 100 years. Like, so like with a plant-based diet, I always look at like the Blue Zones, place where people are centenarians. They live the longest on average, like 100 plus years on average. they definitely eat meat and all that, but their number one thing is like they're eating a ton of fiber and beans. So like I'm always looking at the longevity.
Are you on the toilet a lot because
Oh
of that?
my God, like 8 times a
Yeah.
day. It's ridiculous. Amount of toilet paper I have to buy.
Oh,
So we're actually doing a challenge with my local clients in person, doing a colonic challenge to see, how backed up some people really are.
jeez.
He's like, he comes home literally like 2 weeks ago and he's like, babe, I want to do a Gunnar Made event. I'm like, all right, what are you thinking? He's like, I want all of us to do a team colonic. I'm like, what the fuck? No.
I don't think that's probably the best marketing. We'll
I agree.
we'll edit that out of the video. All right, so obviously you feel where if you're really obese and you just can't get in with Dr. Now, what's his name? The guy on 1,000-pound, 600-pound.
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? The guy talks like this. You've never seen that show?
No, we don't watch much TV.
Yeah. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God. He talks like this. He's in Houston, and these people go, they're 600 pounds, they can't lose weight. And he goes, you gotta stop eating. And that's how he talks the whole time. But all right, that's my impression. All right, Doug from Baton Rouge, what women have you trained from Southern Charm, and which one could compete in an Ironman contest?
I know this one.
So I know that we hadn't really talked about this, but you trained some of these celebrities from the show The Southern Charm. I know you're very close with Madison LaCroix, but so just give y'all a little preview of what the question comes from. So, what women have you trained from Southern Charm, and which one would be able to compete in an Ironman contest?
So I've trained Madison, Naomi, Catherine. I've actually trained, believe it or not.
Is Catherine the redhead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leva?
She probably showed up to less sessions than she booked. Catherine. Naomi stuck with it for long.
She's very thin, though, isn't she now?
Yeah, she's very tiny.
She might be on Ozempic or something. I don't know. I didn't say that. I don't know her. So.
Naomi stuck with it for the longest time, and then just got busy with life. Madison's always been an A1, day one. So if I had to choose one, then I've trained Leva.
Leva,
Leva's
yeah.
on Charleston. Or-
Southern Hospitality.
Yeah.
She owns like bourbon
Yeah,
and
I
bubbles.
had Lamar, her husband, on the
Oh,
show.
we love Lamar. I used to host champagne socials at Bourbon and Bubbles, and Lamar was like, I worked with him. He's cool people.
Very good person.
Mm-hmm.
So who's
Madison? I would say there's something, if she wants to turn on a switch and be one type of way, she can be that person no matter what.
so she's going to commit and do it.
If she truly wanted it, 100%.
All right. Do you like all these people from Southern Charm? That was not one of the questions. Do
good one.
you like these people?
I think there's a lot of good things from them, but I think whenever you hit fame or you're on social television, people, have this one point of view that, gets misinterpreted, and then also they lose themselves along the way.
Because I don't know Madison either. Obviously, you do. The show makes her very backstabbing.
Oh, yeah.
So
I know a different person. I know her before she was even on the show, and it was actually when I was at the Citadel. She is actually one of the main reasons I got into the mom demographic. Fun fact, I used to sneak out of school. She used to give me all of her downtown moms who she used to cut hair for. So I'd run out of the Citadel before it opened. It'd be like 5 a.m., pitch black dark. Train at one of the mom's houses into some black clothes or whatnot. Train the moms till about 7 and get back to school by 7:30 to start my day.
And so, okay, so you don't. Some of this is just the Hollywood that makes it.
100%.
Yeah, Madison is one of our biggest supporters, and what they portray her on television, I will say, like, she's a savage, and she doesn't take any BS, and she is like that in real life too, and I love that about her. But her being backstabbing and all of that, it's a lot of that is that picture is painted of her, and it's not truly who she is.
All right. So Madison, if you're listening and watching,
We love you, Madison.
you're obviously a very sweet person, and Bravo's fucking you with making you look like you're so mean, but you're really nice. All right. Brenda from Gastonia, North Carolina. Do you think being vegan can provide someone the right protein and nutrients needed? I like this question because when I was vegan, I liked it, but my muscles were kind of loose, I felt. I wasn't tight.
So I would say it's very hard to sustain a vegan diet, and you definitely have to incorporate the right supplements, make sure you're getting adequate protein. But the biggest thing is if you're eating a whole foods diet of any sort, it's so hard to get enough calories. So that's like the biggest problem when you're eating just like, vegetables. It's so hard to get your recommended calories and protein. So I think if people are supplementing correctly, eating the right foods.
You're saying pill, like multivitamin type stuff?
So it's like B12, and that's like one of the things that just most common, B12. And then for like people that are athletic, I always recommend creatine. That's like a number one. Almost all my female clients are on that, not like taking.
What about testosterone?
No testosterone.
None of these women are, that's becoming very popular.
Yeah, no, that hasn't hit my demographic.
They're not in my age bracket, I guess. Because I'm seeing a lot of women, even in their 30s, starting to take testosterone.
Yeah, and I would say like a lot of it comes back from that pyramid I gave you. It's the sleep, and then it's just the always going, always the party, and always socializing. The sleep. That's when your body recovers and repairs itself.
So you shouldn't drink alcohol either.
It's very bad. But again, it's socializing. So I would recommend other vices. But I would say the biggest problem.
That like, are you trying to say in code edibles or something? Or what are you saying?
We do mushrooms. So Gunnar and I microdose. And we also drink high-rise seltzers. Which
it's like a cannabis seltzer.
It's like a cannabis seltzer.
Really?
So,
CBD and Delta 9, a local company.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's one thing. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm sober by any means. Like, I drink here and there. I'll do a vodka soda OJ here and there. But once I got this, we watched and realized how much it messed up my recovery. It's not worth it for me anymore.
So when you say this mushrooms, like are
psilocybin mushrooms.
What does that mean?
So basically, this is
like, are you like sitting? Are you like watching like the Grateful Dead and laying on the floor?
No, so that's the perception that people get it. They think it's like you're going to go on this whole hallucinogenic trip and like see things that aren't there.
Well, Hannah and Chase, you guys do this stuff? Do y'all do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So we microdose. So we don't like eat a bunch of shrooms and just go off the deep end. So we get these chocolates from Colorado and we'll break them into quarters and we take them every 2 or 3 hours, but it enhances all of your senses.
All five senses. So like your taste, touch, smell, hearing, vision. And I would say the biggest thing.
Sex, I'm assuming too.
Everything's enhanced. You gotta be careful.
I don't have sex anymore, but back in the day, this would have been good.
Yeah. But anyways, it gives you a whole different perspective on life. I would say gratitude is one of the biggest things that you can get while being on mushrooms. You have a different appreciation for everything.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
From the sounds.
Are you wanting to eat everything up though, like how weed does?
No. So like with this, it's just like it really enhances dopamine, your happy hormone. So then it not necessarily is crash the next day, but you just realize in the morning like you're not hungover or anything. You're just not quite as happy. I would say like 75%.
Really?
Yeah.
But like again, if anything, if you take too much of it, I don't recommend doing this every day. Like we do it more when we're out socializing at these like summits, business masterminds, or we have a concert this Thursday coming into Charleston. We'll take them then, and
it's amazing.
It's like 6 hours of just straight fun.
Yeah.
Only downside is psilocybin's like a chemical, so when it hits the stomach, you have like an upset stomach. So you kind of feel like it's like a gas pain, like you got to fart, and then after that, like 3 minutes later, you don't actually fart or anything. You're fine, and that's when you know it kicks in.
Do you know Huberman? Do you listen to Huberman? So he has an amazing podcast, the Huberman Lab, and he's a professor at Stanford and
just super scientific and to the point of everything.
Yeah. So there's a podcast on psilocybin that he does that explains the science of it, and if you were to look at psilocybin underneath a microscope, it has almost the exact genetic makeup or DNA of serotonin. So what it does is it strengthens the neuroplasticity in your brain, so you could think faster, and you could just you're a smarter person.
So it's the plant-based Adderall to some extent.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
Well, that's what I'm here for. All right, let's talk about how people can contact you guys, take advantage of Goal House. Don't you have a book? Didn't you do a book with Madison or something? An online book?
MadMade. So yeah, when we first started, we did these like little programs. So it was like 6-week transformations or detoxes. We did a program with Madison. It's called MadMade, and that's an all at-home program, like 20, 30-minute HIIT workouts. But that's a GunnarMadePortal.com. Those are those one-time programs, transformation programs. But that's why we built Goal House, because we're focused with our clients
we've
on
scaled to
longevity.
Goal House, basically.
Yeah. So
tell me, because I can only afford enough tape for an hour show.
Yeah.
How I want to do, if we're going to promote anything, we're promoting Goal House.
Correct. Yeah.
So tell the world, because I have fans from Ethiopia to Belarus. Those guys that went back to Belarus to hide out, those guys watch the show constantly. So tell Pagosian right now how we can be on Goal House.
If it's any question you want answered fast, I would go to goalhouse_ for Instagram, goalhouse.com. If you just want to check out the website, send an inquiry, hop on a call. We do hop on calls like assessments, consultations with everybody. And then what would the email be?
info@goalhouse.com.
info@goalhouse.com. I do know these guys. I'm getting nothing to promote this. I'm actually losing money to do this. But having said that, the guy does amazing stuff. I promise you, if you join Goal House, and I'm actually going to do it, I'm going to join Goal House. You heard it here. I'm not really, I'm just saying that. All right, I'm going to do it. And what I promise you, the results are there. It's not a facade. It's not fake. It's real, because he's not going to have you take something that's not safe and then you're going to lose weight and lose 10 pounds in 1 week and then you're going to gain 30 the next. Like this will sustain. Every client he has continues to look great. And look at that woman.
Look good naked, not just in clothes.
Look good naked. You say naked, I say naked. All right. Any other websites, phone numbers, emails that you all want to share?
Nope, that's it.
All right, guys, great show. Enjoyed having you guys.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please check out our previous episodes on the various podcast channels and follow the show. If you're a visual person, then again, watch the interviews on YouTube. I would love to connect with any of my listeners, fans, so please follow me on Instagram. Is it handle? Is that what I'm supposed to say? Handle?
You can say Instagram. People
All right.
get it, yeah.
Well, my address is double DOUBLE underscore E underscore again LLC. Or you can contact me on LinkedIn, Facebook. I think it's just Eric Elkins. I'd love to pick up 30% of his followers. So if you follow him, follow me. I mean, it's great. It's a great opportunity for everybody. All right. If you or your company would like to have an enjoyable conversation about retirement, employee benefits, life insurance, protecting and growing assets, just to name a few, then email us at double E, which is the email address is info. So we had an info email address over here, and we have an info email address here, which is info@double-ellc.com, or reach out by going to the Double E website. You can go to the Contact Us page. Again, the Double E website is DOUBLEELLC.com. It's a really cool website. Q, I'd love for you to check it out and tell me how great it is, because it just got revamped. Just tell me it's great, even if you don't like it. Lastly, if you think you or you know of someone that is an entrepreneur or leader making an impact in this world like Q and Gunnar, you're perfect examples. I appreciate you guys again coming on. And you think they would be a great guest, then contact our producer, Kristen Kilman, at kk@double-ellc.com. I'm Eric Elkins, and focus on being a one percenter. You know what a one percenter is? Do y'all know what a one percenter is? What? What do you think it is? You're already nodding like you know, but you're not going to answer the question now that I've asked
You
you?
answer it.
I'll let you go.
No, you answer it.
Because
Why do
you're
you say it all the time? You want to build a program off the one percenters.
It's like 1%
entrepreneurs.
financial entrepreneurs.
well, this is a lifestyle that I'm talking about, not necessarily entrepreneurs. Fine, let me just tell you what a one percenter is. I came up with this.
There.
It's someone
Set us up.
that does what 99% of people won't do.
That's good.
So if you work with Double E,
I'm gonna take that one.
we
Yeah.
stress. Do what one is that a one percenter move? Because that sounds like a 99%. Most people do 99%. Everybody does the same things. It's got to be different.
That's right.
All right. Enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Eric.
you. Appreciate you.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's
Welcome to the Shrimp Tank Charleston Show. I'm your host, Eric Elkins, but in real life, I'm an entrepreneur and founder of Double E Insurance and Financial Solutions. Double E helps individuals and companies navigate through their financial insurance portfolios. Double E provides clients an entertaining and unique experience. The Shrimp Tank Charleston Show allows us the opportunity to interview and learn from the brightest entrepreneurs and leaders around. We dive into their journey and discover what drove them to become so successful. We will make sure we get out of them not only the wins, but also the losses that they have had on their journey. We are a nationally syndicated podcast that can be heard and watched on YouTube, Google, Apple, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can also tune in and subscribe to our shows on our website, shrimptankpodcast.com/Charleston, or check us out on the Double E website, double ELLC.com.